New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Yes, from the secret bunker, surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts. Good evening to you. Welcome. This is the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and again, we are broadcasting from the top secret bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret that only one person, and that is Diego Reyes. Only he knows where the top secret bunker is. No one else has any clue on where the top secret bunker is located, and we're going to keep it that way. And we're going to keep it also from that Robert Brzezinski guy. He thinks he knows, but he has no clue where the top secret bunker is located. Well, hello there. Welcome. We are live this evening, so please feel free to comment either on Facebook or on YouTube. And for all the shy people out there, I know you're out there. You don't like commenting, and I know that. What you can do is that you can go to pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. There, you can go ahead and send me an email, of which I read during the week. So pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. So the purpose of our Fireside Chat weekly, and going on 4 years now, is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought perspective. And as I keep saying, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on in the world and the part that we play in it. From talking to individuals, they don't think, the majority of them, think that they have anything to do or say about the world conditions. That's not true. Because of our oneness, that we do have a voice and we are able to help create a world that does work for all. Oh, we're so honored this evening to have our ace reporters from the Spiritual News Network. They are the host of Rock and the Love. Usually, I am in the background doing the production. Tonight, I'm not only doing the production, but I'm also doing the hosting. But weekly here on the New Thought Media Network, the host of Rock and the Love, Robyn and Gill Olmstead, who are basking in the afterglow of the Centers for Spiritual Living Conference in Charleston, South Carolina. And you never know what's going to happen here on the Friday evening Fireside Chat. So Gill and Robyn will be our very special guests at the bottom of the hour. That was an outstanding conference. And as I was talking to Robyn ahead of time, she was on the events committee that helped put that on, and they did a marvelous job. And so we'll talk more about the conference here in just a few moments. So in the news, the Odysseus lunar lander, nicknamed Odie, has become the first U.S.-made spacecraft to touch down on the moon in 50 years. The uncrewed lander is upright and starting to send data. The company's CEO said this: Steve Altermus He says, I know this was a nail biter, but we are on the surface and we are transmitting. It's that fear that goes through you when things aren't working technically. I have felt that fear a few times. He said, welcome to the moon. Engineers had to overcome a series of navigation and communication challenges in order to pull off this landing. Now, what they're doing is they're getting data for the moon landing that will happen, the manned moon landing that will happen in 2026, in which we, the United States and NASA, will be going back to the moon. So my question is this here: if we can land on the moon and also other planets, we can solve world hunger and end racial inequality. And let's add to that all wars. So how do we do that? Well, we use the same mind that we used to, again, to be able to get to the moon. No, it's not a waste of time and resources to go into space. I'm not of that bent. What is the waste of time and money and energy and resources is world hunger, racial inequality, and war. So if we can go ahead and we can take the resources that we use to protect each country, and we went ahead and we put them into social programs, we could feed the world. There would be no one that would go to bed hungry here in the world. Also in the news this evening, on the eve of the 2-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of the Ukraine, residents in the first major Ukrainian city to fall have described the shelling from Russian forces as the worst yet. Tensions are heightened under the swaths of Ukraine, but the drones and artillery are still pounding the now liberated city of Kherson at a remarkable frequency, suggesting that Russian forces are not burdened with the same ammunition shortages that Ukrainian troops say that they face. Separately, President Biden met Thursday with the wife and daughter of the late Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, and said that the sanctions will be imposed on President Vladimir Putin, who is responsible for his death. The U.S. Treasury official also says that the administration will impose new sanctions today on more than 500 targets to levy consequences against Russia. So I was reminded by a ministerial colleague several months ago, and also last week at the Centers for Spiritual Living Conference, that Ukraine and the Mideast are in the news primarily because they involve lighter-skinned people. It's also called white wars, in which one of the parties is a lighter skin color. So how about all the other armed conflicts around the world, in Africa, South America, and in Asia? So when I do prayer on the New Thought Media Network, what I do is I mention all of those places. The whole idea of knowing that peace is possible. Peace is possible as we intend it, we know it, and we also work towards it. And one of the questions that I got from the conference, watching the conference last week in Charleston, South Carolina, was to ask myself the question, what is mine to do? What is mine to do in all of this? I think that's a very good question to ask all of us here. Now, the next story is one of those that if I had coffee in my mouth and saw this first thing in the morning, I would have to spit my coffee out. Librarians could be criminally charged over obscene books in a West Virginia bill. I can't make this up here. The West Virginia legislature is considering a bill that would remove protections for librarians concerning books that include alleged obscene material. The bill passed in the House of Delegates on February 16th, has now been introduced in the Senate. The bill would remove any exemptions from criminal liability for public libraries or museums that display or distribute obscene material to a minor. So a librarian or a museum official who violates these restrictions could be charged with a felony, fined up to $25,000, and sentenced up to 5 years in jail if found guilty. The American Library Association has found that obscenity allegations have been largely used to challenge books that touch on the LGBTQ plus community, also sex education, race, and politics. So the bill has prompted debate over concerns about censorship and what students can or cannot have access to. Supporters of the bill say this. It says that it does not ban books or censor speech because the books can still be bought privately. And they say it protects children. To my friends in West Virginia, have you lost your minds? Instead of focusing on the economic, educational, and social issues in your state, of which there are many, you go ahead and you bring up in your state legislature something like this. If you really cared about the children of your state, then pass bills that would keep them safe in schools by banning assault rifles and also providing school lunches, which would help, again, in those areas. A lot of West Virginia is considered not poor, but eligible for assistance from the government for school lunches. Do those things. Work on those things. Because what you're going to find out here, West Virginia, is that librarians do not have to be in your state. They can go to other states here. If you have hanging over your head an up to $25,000 fine, plus all the legal fees to protect yourself in the courts, to defend yourself, plus also you're looking at 5 years of jail time, wouldn't you try to find another job in another state? Now, this is the same thing's happening in the medical profession. Some states are again losing their doctors because of some of the medical bills, especially aimed towards women and preventing abortion. They're going to other states. Something to think about down there. Now, my second spit your coffee out story. There he is, number 45. Trump promises revival of Christian power in a speech to the NRB, or the National Religious Broadcasters. In an evening that was filled with apocalyptic rhetoric, patriot sons, and also campaign promises, the former President Donald Trump promised on Thursday that he would make a triumphant return to the White House next year and that he would restore Christian preachers to power in American culture. Trump told the annual gathering of the NRB in Nashville, if I get in, you're going to be using that power at a level that you have never used before. Speaking to a packed out ballroom of radio and television producers and also broadcasters, Trump described himself as a friend and fellow believer and someone ready to restore God to his rightful place in American culture. Trump said this, he said, with your help and God's grace, the great revival of America begins on November the 5th. So in a speech that lasted about an hour, Trump portrayed evangelical Christians as a persecuted group under President Joe Biden's administration, a status that he told them that he shared in his 2020 election loss, which he said that the election again had been rigged. Though he admitted that he's not a very good Christian and doesn't know much about the Bible, Trump told the broadcasters that he shared their faith and would always stand up for God, lines that brought thunderous applause. But Trump's biggest applause lines came when he promised to promote school vouchers, seal the United States southern border, and prevent transgender men from participating in women's sports. With him as president, he vowed that America would only have two genders, male and female. He told the religious broadcasters, I have been indicted more than any times than the great gangster Al Capone. See, I can't make this stuff up, folks, okay? He also claimed that he was indicted for standing up on behalf of the Christians and the conservatives in our country. He says, I'm being indicted for you. And he claims that bad things were done to Christian crosses. No, they weren't. Another thing that would stop if he became president again, and he would work to reverse the decline of organized religion and also church going in America. He said, we have to bring back our religion. He said, we have to bring back Christianity. Are you kidding? An unholy alliance has been made between the evangelical Christian church and Trump. And there's several books out now by noted evangelical theologians and journalists about this mixing of patriotism and Christianity. What is being worshiped now in some evangelical circles is not Jesus, is not God, but it's patriotism. Yes, elections do matter, and this one coming up is no exception. One of the things that they talked about at the CSL conference last week was that how can you not be political? How can you not be political? No, under IRS rules that you cannot endorse a candidate from the pulpit or in front of your congregation. However, that you can talk about morals and principles. So yes, elections do matter, and this one coming up does matter. Please register. Please go vote. You have the power of the vote. And to Mr. Trump, America was never a Christian country. Never. The founders and the signers of the Constitution set up the laws of this nation so that religion, no matter what religion or brand or denomination, could be practiced freely without persecution. And that's enough of the news. Oh, I don't make this stuff up. Hello there. Good evening. Hello there, Brian. He says there's a new documentary about white nationalism. Yes, and the alliances that you're talking about, that broadcaster group lost more credibility. Brian, the other group of broadcasters besides the religious broadcasters who have created this atmosphere of hate has been commercial broadcasters allowing on conservative pundits that the reason that they're on is not necessarily what they preach, but that they bring in money. So it's not just the evangelical Christian broadcasters. It's also our own broadcasters, especially the radio broadcasters that went ahead and put on late Rush Limbaugh. We have on now Sean Hannity and others. So again, this country needs prayer, and especially going through this year of 2024. All right. Well, hi there. Good evening. It is the Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network. Let's go do some announcements, and then all the way from Charleston, South Carolina, our ace reporters, Robyn and Gill, the dynamic duo who has the wonderful program called Rockin' the Love every Wednesday here on the New Thought Media Network. I produce their program, and I'll tell you something. Their program, I laugh so much during their program. It's a good laugh. It really is. But they talk about some serious subjects as far as with relationships. But in their dispensing of information, they are very humorous. Robyn and Gill Olmstead up here in just a few moments. So this Sunday, we have a wonderful service planned for you at Summit CSL. If you do not have a home church, please come and visit us. You will find information at summitcsl.org. There you will find our Zoom link. Please join us at 10:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Pacific Time. Yes, we do have people from the Pacific Time Zone that join us. They always join us with their coffee, tea, or espresso to wake up. But I really do believe that we have one of the better services in New Thought because we balance the 3 M's. And that's music, meditation, and message. This Sunday, we will have speaking at great expense. New Thought Media superstar and ace producer, the Reverend Michael Mangus. Yes. So go to summitcsl.org for more information on how to join our Zoom call. And our service is always simulcast on our Facebook page, the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page, and also all of our past broadcasts, the Fireside Chat, and also yours truly when he's doing prayer on the NT Media Network is on our YouTube page, New Thought Media Network YouTube page. All of our programs there are archived. All right. We have so much planned for this year, and that we are asking for those people who watch us here to consider partnering with us to fulfill the vision that Robert Brzezinski got several years ago or received several years ago. And that is to take this powerful spirituality of New Thought to the whole world. David Alexander, in his forthcoming book, calls New Thought a liberation theology. It liberates not only the individual, but it can liberate also society. We're asking for your help. Join us. Again, we have the infrastructure already built up. So if you can donate for us and to us, we would really appreciate that, because your donation really makes a huge difference in us getting the message to the world. So go to ntmedia.org/donate. There you can give a very generous one-time gift, and or that you can go ahead and do like I do, and also Robyn and Gill do, and that is we give on a monthly basis. Sustaining gifts help us to put together budgets. It helps us to be able to do the things that we're able to do, not only for ministries from around the world, but also that we're able to go through open doors when offered. All right. ntmedia.org/donate. Thank you so very much. All right. Coming up next, all the way from the beaches, all the way from Charleston, South Carolina, we'll have Robyn and Gill up. This is the Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
It was a treat. It was a bonding. It was a celebration of men. It was a celebration of men who want to deepen in their spiritual awareness of one another, of themselves.
Welcome. We are a brotherhood of spiritually minded and open-hearted positive men. We invite you to join us.
And I came in knowing one person. I left knowing all of the group. And I feel like I came in knowing meeting strangers, but knowing and leaving brothers.
Come experience the New Thought Men's Gathering, Foundations 2024. Friday, March 15th through Sunday, March 17th. With Reverend Robert Brzezinski, Reverend Patrick Creelman, Reverend Eamon Duffy, and special guest musician Jamie Lula. In Vernonia, Oregon, at Camp Cedar Ridge. Learn more and register at www.newthoughtmens.community.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right, However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
The two of you are lucky because only the legal department makes me play that kind of disclaimer.
Mm-hmm. We understand.
Oh, you understand? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Joining us live from basking in the afterglow of the CSL convention, Robyn Rice Olmstead, also her wonderful husband, the Reverend Gill Olmstead. Well, welcome this evening. Thanks for taking time out of your vacation to come and be with us.
How could we not be with you, Michael? It wouldn't be right if the three of us weren't together on this journey.
I don't know. We're kind of, it's kind of dharmic, especially with especially with me producing your program, which I'll tell you, if you've never seen their program on Wednesdays, I'm telling you that it's just naturally funny, especially when the two of the Robyn and Gill get into these marital exchanges, which only happens with married couples. All right. So,
Go
ahead.
The conference was very focused on diversity and inclusion and equity. And so in that interest, we like to bring this type of relationship to the forefront to make people know that this particular diverse pattern exists in our world.
You just got the look.
I did. See,
you got the look, and I. So Robyn was on the events committee down there, and again, when I told Robyn before, is I thought that was an excellent conference. And Robyn was on stage introducing many of the guests and many of the artists. So tell us, Robyn, what was your impressions of the week, and what were some of your favorite parts of the week?
I thought it was a really great week, actually. I thought, for me, this conference, it felt different than other conferences. If anyone's been to a CSL conference, they're generally pretty good, but this to me, it feels like a new time in the organization and a new time in leadership and things like that. So I think it felt very real to me, and authentic, and diverse in that each speaker was very different. I mean, they definitely had their own bent and kind of thing. It was a lot of different speakers, and it was really an opportunity to just hear and see different people and different perspectives. And I mean, a lot of it, like, I heard people talking about it, and they were kind of dazed about, like, what did they say? Because it was very different, but it felt like, I don't know, in terms of leadership, it feels like we're stepping into a new era with leadership. And it felt like they were really open and listening and transparent, and really, like, they've heard everything that people are saying, whether they're acting on it right now or not, they're at least acknowledging it and bringing it into the, putting it on, the Post-its and figuring out what order they're going to do what in. But it feels like they're taking care of a lot of business, old business that needed to be taken care of, and, getting the foundation back to a stronger place. So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, Gill, you were sitting out in the audience. So what was your impression, and also what feedback did you get from the other ministers there?
Well, I was impressed, definitely, with the quality, the depth, and the amount of stuff that was challenging. It wasn't a feel-good conference. It wasn't a motivational speaker conference. It had that aspect to it, but they always had the personal reality check aspect as well. And something else I was just thinking about here was, we were in Palm Springs 2 years ago,
Yes.
and that conference also felt really positive and powerful and had elements of the organization moving forward. And so what that's saying to me is we are continuing to build on that as we're moving along. As leadership moves and changes, they're taking what has been coming forth, this kind of new openness and this new intention, and they're running with it, and it's just taking us forward. So, on one hand, you could say it's all great and wonderful and it's brand new, and on another hand, I think it's the glacial movement of an organization at some point as well, where we've seen the glimmers of this, and now there's kind of we kind of have a little fire going.
Well, and I
Well,
feel
go ahead.
like he is ready to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like this particular configuration is able to, well, first of all, I feel like it's a more collaborative model. It's not just I am the leader. This is leadership and, like top down. It really feels like they have plans and they are open and listening to what people want and really trying to create that and inviting people to play along, going, it's our organization,
Right.
Well, as an example of that, we attended a listening session with the Sonny Cantrell, who is the spiritual leader, and Reverend Michelle Ariana, who's the CEO, the executive director rather, and then Alice Reed, who is the head of the leadership council. Is that her role? I think that's the title of her role. Anyway, the three of them sitting in a room with about 80 people or something.
Yeah.
And they did a listening session, and we were in that room for 2 hours, and they probably spoke about 7 minutes total. The entire rest of the time was just a space for people to speak into the room. And they even made the comment, we are recording this. We're not going to play it back for anybody except ourselves, but we're recording this because we want to be able to make sure that we catch what gets said here. So, and there was everything from we love you to we have a major concern over here,
Right.
But it was the living of the idea of being open and collaborative and not needing to be in charge and not needing to demonstrate prowess and control, if you will,
And they've, again, the leadership has gotten a lot better about that. So what I still sense, though, is that, again, with, and they had a variety of speakers last week talking about diversity and inclusion, about, again, about LGBTQ rights. If you notice that myself and both Robyn and Gill, they have the pronouns after our names. And the reason being, again, is we want to be respectful of our LGBTQ family. And I think that it's, so that was the one thing that really struck me the past week. The other thing too was when Reverend Elijah Christopher from CSL, is it Santa Monica?
Santa Cruz.
Is that who?
Santa Cruz.
Oh, Santa Cruz. Oh, from Santa Cruz. Okay. When he talked about his community, about that, what they did was when he came in and took over leadership there, what he noticed was that the building was empty for most of the week. So what he did was, along with the rest of the folks there at Santa Cruz, was they went ahead and they opened the building up to the point of opening it up to another congregation, a Jewish congregation that celebrates Sabbat, or the Shabbos, the Sabbath. They go ahead and they celebrate that, and then they
Right.
also celebrate that as a community. So that is what, again, I have the privilege with New Thought Media Network of going to many conferences. And again, that the question has been asked, well, what is trying to emerge here from COVID? And what Reverend Elisha's congregation is showing is a part of what is coming forth, which is more of a community center model. Whereas the building is opened up during the week to many activities, and that from that again, that he had some loss. He had some, he was running about 30 a week. 10 of the people went ahead and they walked because it wasn't the religious science that they grew up with. So they walked. However, what happened was now they have anywhere between 60 and 100 a week. So, what are what's your view on that, and what's emerging here, or what's wanting to emerge here?
Well, I would say that concept is exactly what we've been doing at Rio Grande in Albuquerque, having just become roommates, if you will, with a Unity congregation, whom we set up a rental agreement with them, which is not anything extraordinary, but we also are making it a point to be very cooperative. We've had two services together. We have a fellowship time together. We share workshops and etc. And the amount of energy, which I can attest to, what I'm sure experience in Santa Cruz as well, the amount of energy in the room, if you will, shifts because you have this synergy from two committed communities, both doing their own thing and doing it together, But the key to that is the idea of collaboration. Now, the next step with what we're doing is we are literally working together with a congregation which has many people who have been formerly in CSL. So it takes that vision to say, we're not here to compete, we're here to support. And that is one of the main messages that was coming out of the conference. And two, in terms of collaboration, was we're not here to compete with each other. How do we collaborate? And I will share with you that I had the opportunity to speak with a colleague who's from Albuquerque as well, my home base. And she and I are just totally excited to spend some time together and talk about the ways in which we can bring the conversations forward, create some fun stuff, co-advertise in the community. I don't know. There's any number of things we could do. So, I mean, that idea of cooperating, our center doesn't have to be like that center, and that center doesn't have to be like another center. And it's okay if one of my people goes there, or one of their people goes here, or Unity picks up a couple, or we pick up a couple of theirs. It doesn't matter because, well, actually, it does matter because what it does is it creates the space for people to find what they need.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that the key is surrender. There's a lot of surrender going on, at the top, because people are used to that model of like, no, mine must hold on to congregants, it's already low because it never came back from COVID and da 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 da. But in all honesty, when you can just surrender to it and allow people to find their place, everybody's happier. And if somebody leaves from your congregation and goes somewhere else, many blessings that you found what you need, and there's a space for someone else who needs what you have, you
Right.
know? So I think it's really, I think it's super powerful. And it was super powerful to hear Reverend Sonny Cantrell talk about, just her vision of like centers having billboards together and, being out in the community like that.
Go ahead.
I'm reminded of a song that I grew up with when I was a preteen, probably, and a young teen in the United Methodist Church. And I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called Magic Penny. And it goes like this, that love's just like a magic penny. If you hold on tight, you won't have any. But if you lend it, spend it, you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. And it's that idea of generosity and sharing and letting go that I think we're living into. And again, there's the vision for it back in the 70s in another denomination, I'm sure several places. But I think this we've been as a humanity, we've been building toward this.
Yes.
And CSL is one of the places probably that's kind of hopefully on the front edge of it, but it's also been coming up. It's and we're standing on the shoulders of all of that.
We're talking this evening here on the Friday Evening Fireside Chat with Robyn and Gill, the hosts of our wonderful program Rockin' the Love on Wednesdays here on the New Thought Media Network. And they're sharing with us their thoughts about the conference down in Charleston, South Carolina, of which they are currently down there. So the one thing, I got during the week again that we are a welcoming congregate, that we are centers, churches are open and affirming. And also that, one of the speakers during the week, I talked to you about this before, about what Josh Reeves from Mile High said. And I don't know if you caught it, but there was a couple of things he said. First of all, he says, we are Christian without hell. And then he said, we teach the principles of Jesus, not the principles about Jesus. And that you don't have to be a Christian to use the principles that we have discovered in Christianity. So I really like that. And the reason being is that there is still, and I noticed that some of the speakers during the week, they mentioned Bible quotes, but they did it with a lot of trepidation. Because that many people said, oh, we're not Christian. Well, okay, I get that. And that we may not be traditional Christian, but we do have our roots in the New Testament. We do have our roots. That's where we came from. And that we have added over the years, we've added other wisdom teachings to that. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing too, and I don't know if you caught it or not, but Josh said, he says, okay, so we changed it to Centers for Spiritual Living. How's that working for us? Your comments on that?
Oh, well, okay. First of all, I would counter at some level that, in fact, one of the things that Ernest Holmes and the people he studied with and from were bringing together ideas that weren't just Christian, but that in fact flowed in Christianity as well as in many other places. And so when you get to the idea of we're Christian, it sounds like we're exclusive. I think what it means is that Christianity is one of the belief systems which we can see makes sense in terms of if you talk about truth in the world, because it's the same thing that's been taught through Buddha and through various other masters and teachers throughout time. Now, how's Centers for Spiritual Living working for us? Well, as Josh said,
the name
we
change.
don't have an advertisement where where, oh God, I can't think of his name now. Anyway,
Tom Cruise.
where Tom Cruise is talking about how, they're not Centers for Spiritual Living. We're actually, so it hasn't gone that far. But to me, it's been something to live into. It's been something to live into. That if we're a place for spiritual living, we're not just a church, we're a community.
Yes.
And each community is this place where everyone is hopefully at some level working for themselves and to create a space for people to grow spiritually.
Mm-hmm. Robyn Rice Olmstead, do you have an opinion or a few thoughts?
No, I think that, no, I don't. I mean, I agree with what you guys have said. I think it's, I don't know. It's so interesting to me. Everybody has different interpretations, of
Right.
what was said and what Christianity is. And, for some it's a buzzword, and for some it's a beautiful thing. And other, it's just interesting. And so for me, the journey, and especially this week, has been to really just constantly check in with myself and just notice what comes up for me or what I'm feeling around these things, and return to knowing. I mean, I know this sounds so woo, but return to knowing like the place of love in it,
Yes.
and the truth in it. And I know, for anyone listening that, thinks, oh, yeah, whatever, because it sounds like, but I don't even know how to say it any other way, because so much of it right now and from this week is just me watching myself and watching my own thoughts and watching my own ideas of how it should be, and where I'm putting the shoulds on somebody else or any of that. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Gill.
I was going to say something else that was brought up a couple of times was exactly what Robyn's talking about, was this coming from love, this space that we're coming from. When we had the Gullah Geechee choir, who sang very traditional Christian hymns, and there was hardly anyone who wasn't on their feet, dancing and with tears in their eyes when they sang. Why? Because you knew their heart. You could feel the heart. You could feel the love. You could feel the fact that they didn't have any judgment. They were really talking about this grand creation in the way that they do it, and so I think that's one of the things that we get reminded of in this situation.
I think I know you had something to say, Michael, but I just want to say that.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
It's just your show. Don't worry about it.
I often get the show taken over by the guests, so not a problem. Go ahead, Robyn.
Don't we know it? No, but what I was going to say was, I think it was the same when people prayed in a different language. It's that vibrational thing that it transcends whatever's going on. It's not the words that are being said. It's really like it's some higher understanding that comes through you, or something that touches your soul, and soul to soul to soul. It was really, that's what it felt like during this conference. It was like, even if you liked it or you didn't like it, you didn't understand it, because don't get us wrong, that was our opinion of the thing. But, it was a mixed bag of, people like being confused, because there's a lot of change happening, a lot of change and a lot of questions and a lot of, concerns in the way of like, what is the organization doing it like this, and why and how, and, so, but there, at the end of the day, there was that, for me, there was that higher connection of really that change is happening and something's happening.
Yes.
Something's moving.
Absolutely. The one thing that struck me also from the again viewing the conference is again the global reach. We saw again a Spanish speaking minister received the Ernest Holmes Award. You could mention her name, please.
Rebecca Pena.
Yes. I mean, just one light that has really just ignited all of not only Mexico but all of South America and all the Spanish speaking. And
Yes.
I really enjoyed when you and others spoke Spanish, and Myrna, who's not only on our network here on the New Thought Media Network, but she also has been a guest on your program and also a personal friend. She won the Global Ministries Award.
Yes.
Which I thought was extremely well deserved. And I could, not only the sincerity, but also her heart, you could feel it in her accepting the award. And again, I was just extremely proud. She's part of her ministry is with us here at New Thought Media Network, and we do have a global reach now. We have, again, it's not just us here in the United States, but it is truly around the world. And we also saw that with the Kenya conference that just completed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm just agreeing with you. And it's only getting bigger. And on my new show that we're starting, we'll have my co-host coming in from Australia. So, that's a whole nother part of the world to be bringing in. And it's good. It's good stuff.
So something was said in one of the, smaller sessions that, or maybe not, maybe it was in the bigger session. I don't remember now. But anyway, about diversity and about the idea that it doesn't matter what diversity you have. The idea is to honor the diversity that exists and to celebrate it in such a way that it opens the space for others. And I think that's what's happening. There's this intention to be a global reach, not there in many different ways, but celebrating the places we are and finding out how we can better serve them, and all those things only will serve the space of being able to, again, have others feel welcomed and to come in.
You're not going to believe this.
I don't.
We're out of time.
Oh, no.
It's crazy. Crazy. I was just getting warm here by the fire.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, having your now, did you enjoy your cocoa?
Yeah, yes.
With
my hot
say cocoa, we had a hot toddy over here.
Robyn, Gill, Olmstead, again, thank you so very much. Again, their program is on our wonderful network, New Thought Media Network, on Wednesdays. That's 3:00 Eastern, 1:00 Mountain Time. They have great guests, a great show. I learn something every time. And again, about the whole idea of relationships and how we relate to one another and how we can come from a place of love in that. So again, thank you guys so very, very much for taking time out of your schedule to be on the show this evening. And we will see you guys on Wednesday.
We will. Can I give you a spoiler alert?
Yeah.
We will have one of our former New Thought Media Network people on there, along with 3 other guests, but Miss Laura Topper will be there, along with her husband.
No.
Yes, it's a party.
Oh, boy. Now, anybody else I know?
Someone we had on before, Christopher Brown, but he'll be bringing on his wife. And Laura and her partner have been married for going into the 2nd year. And Susan and Christopher are just celebrating their 50th. So
wonderful.
We're going to talk about, the different stages and things like that of love and relationship.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So it'll be fun.
So that's going to be a good show. So this Wednesday, and if you miss it, not a big deal. Just go to our YouTube page. Everything there is archived, and we just it's we are there for people, and that's what I love about our network is that even at 3:00 in the morning, that you can turn something, you can turn on a prayer. You can go ahead and go on our YouTube page and watch either your program or my program or any of the other programs. And again, just to be supported. So, all right, guys, see you Wednesday.
So
and again, thank you very much. Safe travels back.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Oh, time for us to go. Again, thank you so very much for joining us this evening here on the New Thought Media Network on the Friday evening Fireside Chat. We'll be with you next week with more exciting stuff here on our Friday evening get together. On behalf of myself, Reverend Robert Brzezinski, and all of our staff here at the New Thought Media Network, I am Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night and a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.